And then I guess that comes down, it's not just about your child. When you obviously participate in a basketball club, you're supporting a team, you're not just supporting your child. And that sometimes is really difficult for parents because they might philosophically disagree with another child on the team because that child is better than their child and they know it, but they can't admit it. So they get jealous or annoyed because that child gets more attention or they never pass. I hear that one often, like, oh, they just never pass, or, oh, they're just always shooting. Rah, rah, rah. The coach is probably aware if that really is an issue, but it's not typically. But it's not just in the encouragement, right? So especially, at a local basketball level, parent volunteers and doing their part, that actually makes the sport run.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, all right, I've talked to a lot of parents about this. Weekend sport, it's the bane of their existence. They hate it. But as one of the things that I counter with that is that it's precious time because it's statistically speaking the best window your child ever has to play sport uninterrupted because their injury risk is low because typically unless they're breaking bones they're pretty jelly, they'll bounce right off, they'll be fine. Money, because they're not self-funding it, because they're not trying to juggle a job with it, they literally just have infinite energy going to school and then going to sport. This may be the only chance that they get to ever do undisrupted sport. And so you making sure that you do your part on the scoring, making sure that if you are involved with the team manager, that you're assisting that process, putting your hand up to do things. I'm gonna say some hot stuff here, but we don't probably have enough viewers for this to be an issue. But like these are some of the things you sign up for if you choose to have a child. I know not everyone chooses to have a child, and that there's circumstances for that. But like this is one of the many things that you kind of signed up for, and it's all well and good for someone to be saying it, but ultimately, if you would like the child that you brought into this earth to have a certain quality of life in this specific interest, you may have to volunteer to press some buttons on a computer screen that has really developed over the years. This is another tangent. I was old enough for the score sheet and I saw it transition to the computers. The
Yep.
computers were designed to assist people. It's easier now than it ever was. The score sheet had specific markings. You had to write a specific way.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was, it's much easier now. And then the scoreboard, everyone's like, I don't know how to do the scoreboard. You hit a button like that, right? And if you screw it up, there is an undo button.
Undo,
No,
undo. That's
yeah,
right.
but if you don't know how to do the undo button, guess what? Statistically speaking, more points will be scored in the game. Just wait. Okay, just wait. It'll happen. All right.
It feels
So
like you're letting out some pent-up trauma here, Nick. It's
I
okay.
just,
It's okay. It's been a few
like
years,
I feel
hasn't
like
it?
how there's certain things, right, that people just do socially, and we just accept it as like, oh, it's just a colloquial line, right? So asking
Yep.
about the weather when you don't know what to talk about, right? That's a big one. Another really popular one at a basketball stadium when you ask someone to score is, oh, I don't know how to. Oh no, I'll mess it up. I don't want to make any mistakes.
Yep.
It's not a big deal. It's
I,
really not a big deal.
I think, look, you're absolutely right. Okay, and it's all part of the whole package. And it's all part of the whole positive experience. Okay, I'm gonna give I'll give you a hot take here. All right, here's a statement for our 10 followers at the moment. Yeah, maybe we'll jump to 11 after this podcast. If you're not going to be a good team manager, don't be a team manager. Okay, a team manager is so important to how successful and enjoyable that season will be. Okay, so whether that's 6 months or 12 months, usually, okay, a good team manager, along with a coach that wants to have a successful and enjoyable season, okay, is critical. Okay, because it looks like this, and we know all team sports, those team sports and basketball especially, because there's only 5 players on the floor. Okay, is that you need to get along with everyone. You need to know each other. You don't have to be best friends. No one's saying that. Okay. It's not that you have to hang out with each other every day, but you need to, have some level of camaraderie and enjoyment to play with each other. Okay. In that sort of sense. Okay. And that is created outside the game. Okay. If you've got team managers and teams that don't want to go and do something at the end of the season. You've got teams that don't want to, stick around for 10 minutes and shoot around with each other. Okay, you've got team players that, get to training and leave as soon as the training leaves and stuff like that, and they don't get to know each other. It often doesn't eventuate into a highly successful team. Okay, and if you think about the teams that you often have coached, the ones that have at least a core number of players that got along, okay, and sometimes there's those couple players that just for whatever reason don't necessarily fit in with that core group. Okay, maybe they just came from a different school or a different area and things like that, and they're slowly but surely, they get that opportunity and time to sort of, get to know each other. Okay, I think that it's a really, those are the teams that are highly successful. Okay, but the opposite here is that when you get a team manager that obviously doesn't really have an interest to do so, I'm just doing it because someone has to, so I'll just do it. Okay, just give me your money and I'll just collect it and pay the team sheet. Okay, it serves no purpose. It serves no purpose for the club and for the team and for your players. Okay, in that sense, and often that then filters down through, and no one has any enthusiasm about that sort of team. Okay, and it really just doesn't build that rapport. And unfortunately, I'll say that my observation here is that 10 years ago, basketball was so much more close knit. And I'm not saying every team's like this, okay, but 10 years ago, basketball was much more close-knit. 20 years ago, it was even closer than that, okay? And now we're sort of in I don't know, this whole nother podcast, right? A society or whatever that, we all do whatever we do, right? So even that point that at the end of the season, once a season, hey, let's all get together and go to Macca's to have a breakup. Oh, no, I'm busy, okay? What's the point, okay? Maybe we didn't win enough games, okay? Many players and not players so much, many parents, okay, don't see that benefit, okay, but it's there. I think that's the point. It's there, okay, and it's disappointing because you do need everyone to buy in. It doesn't matter if I'm a team manager or a parent that goes, hey, I'll come, but no one else is coming. Like, what's the point? So but someone has to set that up, and a team manager is really critical to that. Okay, and I think that, and along with the coach, and the coach here it's a mixed bag. We just talked about the coaching component there. We also have to accept that coaches, just like coaches, just like players, okay, all start off somewhere. Okay, and that's the thing. And in junior basketball, you will encounter those coaches that are starting off. Okay, and again, and we'll talk about these pathways in a little bit. If you're looking for a more consistent or higher expectation from your coach, that's where you look at your pathways from junior basketball. Okay, but again, we have to give coaches an opportunity to begin somewhere. The coaches have to have that first season where they coach and they play not really sure what they're doing, and they want to do really well, but they suck at everything they're doing. They're making the wrong calls and stuff like that. We got to give them that opportunity, because only when you give them that opportunity over, again, a period of time, and hopefully their passion ignites as a coach to become better as a coach, to make their players and their team better and develop basketball players, positive basketball players, okay, then you'll create that. But again, if you think about this, how many coaches probably coach, especially young coaches, coach a season or two and get turned off because, well, my team didn't win enough. My parents all harped on about all this stuff that, that was not really in my control. My players didn't dunk at 8, so, I must have been a bad coach. You know what I mean? It's that's the thing. So again, we haven't probably used this word, patience. Okay, patience here. Okay, along with obviously, this building environment is so important to support the whole community in the basketball team.
I think it's we've touched on this probably privately, but it's instant gratification. I think that's a word that is also probably important to introduce, is that not going to those team functions, not being active in the things. Those are things that you can do to invest, and you do not get instant gratification for doing that. It legitimately will feel like a waste of time, right? And if you had to hear my nihilistic wisdom, on this fine Thursday evening, my nihilistic wisdom would be everything can be considered a waste of time, right? So perspective is really important. If you if you are committed to trying to do something, if you give it your all, then you can walk away from it knowing that you did your controllable thing. You may very well enroll your child into a club that is not suited for you, and you can do everything right and it doesn't work out properly. And we all know that time is precious, especially when we're talking about children, because those years fly by very quickly. And if you're trying to pursue something basketball related, you can't waste time at a bad club for 4, 5, 6 seasons. But if you never give it a proper go, expecting it to just fall onto your lap, then there is going to be a lot of shrugging shoulders, etc. Of, well, what did you expect? Hey, you never got your kid to training half the time. Hey, you didn't pay your team fees, and you were constantly having fights with the coach, and the coach was forced into some weird disciplinary issues for some reason because even though it's junior sport, you for some reason had to make an example out of the 16-year-old coaching your team in front of everyone, and so he was advised to not let your child start the next game. There's all these different things that can occur. So it's perspective. If you want a good experience, then you have some steps along the way. I think the customer mindset has just oozed into everything, right? Everything is, well, I'm paying you money, so you should do this for me. This is how it should be. I should just get this instantly. I shouldn't have to do this. I'm paying you money. And, I'm sure clubs could arrange for it. Clubs could arrange for scorers. Clubs could arrange for a team manager. It's just going to cost you to pay those people to do it because, that's the reality of what you want.
I love one of the ones that I've observed, not so much my teams, I would never really agree to this, but was the perfect division of minutes. It was like, yeah, we've got a stopwatch and we're going to perfectly divide the 40 minutes or so, or 36 minutes sometimes nowadays, or 34 minutes sometimes nowadays in the game between the number of players, and everyone gets the perfect amount of minutes. Because like we all get the same pay packet, right? And we all drive the same car, and we all get the same opportunities and fairness in life that we all deserve. Is that correct?
It's
What?
the communist coaching.
It's like, how does that even work? And like I said, I've never subscribed to that as a coach, because sports is not like that. Okay, sports, and that's why we love sports, because of the unpredictability of a game and the outcome and who could win or what might happen in the last few minutes and so on and so forth. And I think that's an area where the sometimes that support has now gone to a point where it's a whole nother area that's not really positive for sports in general and for basketball in general. But at the end of the day, if you can accept that sometimes your kid might play more, sometimes your kid might play less. Hell, he might play less because he's in foul trouble. You know what I mean? Okay, maybe today he's just not looking, he's looking tired, he's not running as hard as he could. Okay, and sometimes he's having a really good game. Then, yeah, the coach probably should see that and probably will go, hey, you're going to get it 5 more minutes today. Okay, and that's just how it should be. And that's where that support, again, we're really looking for. I think as a coach, and obviously, goes a long way, because then your kids understand that, what, I'm not going to play the same minutes every week. I'm going to earn my minutes. I'm going to earn my minutes because I'm playing well. I'm going to earn my minutes because I'm running hard on every possession and contesting every rebound, not because I'm simply allocated 19 minutes a game. I'll just take it. What I do with it doesn't matter. Okay, because in sports it does. Okay, and that's the point here.